So
Yep.
it is. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to stream 3 of 5 in the Survive Straight Days. I'm J.K. Lucas. Umber with me for the Fantasy Mapping Show, as always. Wonderful co-hosts here, the legendary Alyssa Faden and the glorious Anna Meyer.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
So note the following: we are now 7 followers away. If you know anyone, 7 away from, and it'll be Sunday night. We're going to give this away. Number 8, original Best of Dragon Volume 3, my favorite publication ever for reference. So, it's filled with lens stuff, which is great. The Archer, the Wing Folk, wonderful stuff in there. So that'll be given away no matter what on Sunday nights. Gavin is my guest because we have a stream tomorrow morning, and during Gavin, I'm sure we'll pass it as we got special guest Stefan Picorni's joining us for the DM's Roundtable Sunday night.
Nice.
That'll be awesome. So, before we get into the swing of things, the three of us have not chatted about GaryCon. I guess we should.
Yeah, we should. Yeah,
some
we
wrap
need
up
to.
on that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Mac, 8,000 followers. Yeah, every 1,000, I give away that Best of Dragon Volume 3. Yeah, I give it. It's an original. Not the same one, obviously, but 8. 10 copies. So.
You ask them back again. So then.
Yeah. So, I had a great experience, a great time. I was shocked that my portly, overweight, bumbling Roman merchant had lived in Anna's Call of Cthulhu game. I was shocked. That was pretty cool. That was cool. That was Sunday morning. That was the last game I played in. Yeah, that was neat.
The thing about my games, Jay, is and I honestly embrace this is the way I like to run my games. There's this. It doesn't matter if we're playing D&D or in Traveller, Call of Cthulhu. There's a certain genre of GM that is going to be, I'm running a game at a convention, I'm just going to kill everyone. Right? And if you didn't Call of Cthulhu, it's definitely, I'm going to turn everyone insane. I'm going to kill everyone because that's what Call of Cthulhu is known about.
Right.
But I like the story-driven games. I like plopping someone into an era of history like Rome. And just if the players play smart and think it through and do well and make good decisions, they survive. I'm not gonna, I'm not playing like Temple of Elemental Evil here. It's not me versus the players, and there's certainly valid, games like that. I like the story narrative-driven ones where you can be successful if you do it well, and you guys played well.
It was a blast. And I said to Alyssa before you came on, Anna, I was like, I'm sitting there and I have this lowly platinum badge. I look, and the entire other side of the table is all diamond badge holders. I'm like, holy shit.
That was probably the only time at the convention you felt like you were second class.
Well, that and hanging out with Sir Andrew and his crew, right?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
They were all diamond.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
But that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I got to kill a gladiator. It was a gladiator guy while I was taking a dump.
that whole section of it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Poisoning the bodyguards and then
That
taking them out while they were inconvenienced.
Yes. So that was a blast. And I did not. You taught me something. I didn't know that they had different eras. That makes total sense in history with Cthulhu. That was pretty neat.
That's one thing I love about Call of Cthulhu is theoretically, as a horror type game, you can plop it in any part of history and even in the future, and it works. It just still works.
Excellent. I'm glad I did it, and I would love to do it again. Absolutely. Oh, by the way, tonight, courtesy of our show sponsor, Frog Guide Games, we're giving away 2 $25 gift certificates. Let me set that up. So it's set up. Let me just start it up here. Yep. So Frog God has always stepped up. They sponsored the Fantasy Mapping Show, and we are doing that for tonight.
So say hi to Inquisitor 06.
Yes.
Yep.
Good to see you. And good to see everyone here tonight. All right. So highlights, Alyssa. Highlights for GaryCon for you.
Actually, so just being back at GaryCon, I love the whole lodge. I love the ambience that it has. There's a certain energy in the air that I always love. Being back at in-person conventions, this was my first in a couple of years, was an absolute thrill. Had a huge blast with that. I ran my Spear of Antioch game, and it was very, very well received. And that was definitely, fun. Just being back at the table, playing and running games. But a highlight, honestly, for me, was attending the auction, because I've never been to a GaryCon auction before. And this year they raised $30,000, which is a record for them for Wounded Warrior Project.
It's awesome.
And to be there, seated there, surrounded by this great energy, and some of the things that they're auctioning off are stupid, like electronic football games and stuff like that.
Some silly and some were fantastic.
It's just all for charity, right? And just being part of that, everyone was in a great mood. Some people are just honestly, they're buying things and then they're just giving it straight to one of the children that were there. It's just all about the donation versus the, what they're going to get for themselves. It was just great. I think it encapsulated so much, like the role-playing family that we're all part of.
It's a wonderful thing to see how generous the community is in multiple aspects. Definitely. So, Antiquitous asked a very key question of you, Alyssa. Anne and I both got the con crud bad.
Yeah, I missed it. I missed that save. I rolled a 1 on that save.
Did you come scot-free from GaryCon?
I did.
Wow.
Honestly, I did GaryCon, and then 2 weeks later I did ChaosiumCon.
Oh wow!
And I managed to get through both.
Wow.
Oh wow! Yeah, I got con crud real bad. I've got con crud twice. One from Gen Con like 5 years ago, and this one. So otherwise, I don't think I've had bad con crud.
And it wasn't.
Sorry, guys.
It wasn't. That's not your fault. It wasn't COVID for me. It was.
No, exactly. It was not COVID
tested.
for me either. I did 2 tests, and thankfully they came back positive or sorry, negative. So yeah.
But that's
so
okay.
It was, that was so no COVID, thankfully. Yeah.
Anna, what about your highlights?
Oh, there was so many, and to me it was kind of, this was my third GaryCon, and since I helped out working, I saw it both from the inside and out. So my GaryCon was a week long, which was kind of really, really cool in some ways. I saw the whole thing from the start, from 2 days before to the end, so to speak. But I did, like Alyssa said, it was simply to be there and meet people for the first time in 2 years. That was the big thing. First time traveling away from home and have fun seeing game friends again. That was the biggest. And then there was so many cool things, but it was kind of more varied than other ones, because other conventions have been hanging around, playing games, being in seminars and stuff. But this was some streaming, working out, running to the other end, and so on and so forth. So it was much more. There was always something going on for me constantly for a whole week. And so there was no pauses or anything like that, because as soon as I didn't have anything, I just ran back and worked at the convention in HQ. So there was something going on all the time.
Good day, Dead Aussie. Josh ran you ragged along with all the other all the other volunteers, right?
Yeah,
which was good.
Yep, but it was a lot of fun. So I felt like I got to know GaryCon way more than the previous times. But I was just there as a guest, running around and then sitting there and talking to some people, and then now I had really a full schedule continuously. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So here's an observation for all three of us. I streamed 4 times. Twice we did a gabbing before it started, and that was in the club room on that big wood table out there, and that was great. We're just sitting there, just chatting. Todd Stashwick sitting next to me for an hour and a half. We're just bullshitting, right? Then we did our Greyhawk stream in one of the smaller rooms. That worked because it was a small setting. The toughest one we did was ours. The Fancy Mapping Show one, because I'm holding it up. Anna's standing up every time I got to hold the camera up like this, and I'm like, sit down, Anna.
Yeah, it was kind of, because the room was kind of difficult. The projector and stuff was in front of me, so I couldn't see half the audience if I was sitting down at my computer. So I had to stand up and kind of get some contact with with the audience. And then Jay had to kind of run after me with the webcam and stuff. That was kind of So it was a little bit hectic.
Yeah, but that was the only one. So I got to think about like next year. And I solved the magic panacea. I don't know why no one had ever tried this before. Oh, Curtis was there too, helping out, and won the tournament. Curtis's group. No one's like, oh, the internet sucks here, except for if you have the direct hardwire in the back room. So I go, well, I I have great 5G service through my phone. I'll just hotspot my laptop through my phone, and that's what I
Great.
did, and it worked.
It
So,
worked great.
you
Yep.
know, so hey, Nancy, good to see you. Yes, the live fantasy mapping show, and we're just BSing here about Gary Con.
Mhm.
And tonight we're gonna talk about making plans, and I'm assuming, I know it's kind of vague. I like vague titles, you know that, Anna and
Mhm.
Alyssa.
I wanted to be vague so we could
yeah.
kind of put a lot of stuff in there. So yeah.
So we got a lot of cool things to share. And I got the one I want to discuss first right off the bat here,
Mhm.
and that's the one you just gave me, Alyssa. Is that right? Is that okay to discuss?
Yeah, actually, yeah. No.
Yeah,
Let's
start
talk
things
about it.
off.
Yeah.
What? Wrong,
Yeah.
wrong one. See, now you can hit the wrong button. One. I got so many different site buttons. There we go. There we go. I got so many different sets up for that.
I
This
think
one.
Elgato need to sponsor you with a
Yes,
better thing of that thing.
Yeah. Yes, the master of the. So, is this wonderful, wonderful production you've done? Is this the original TSR one, or is this yours?
This is so this is mine,
Okay.
but it was for Gygax magazine #1,
Okay.
2012, something like that. And the reason why I gave it to you, because if we're talking about plans, like what we're going to be doing over the next year, like where are the careers of Anna and Alyssa are going, this is going to be one of my big work efforts over the next year. I want it done for the next GaryCon, funny enough.
Wow.
So this was the original cosmology of role playing. The Gygax magazine contacted me and said, we're going to write an article about the birth of role playing, and we want you to do a map for it. So that's honestly, guys, that's kind of a weird map. I'm like, a map for an article. All right, fine, send the article across. And James Carpio wrote the article, and he wrote it in terms of the Big Bang, right? You've got Dungeons and Dragons and TSR in the heart of the birth of role playing, and he then sort of started talking about almost these nebula, these explosions, these phases of the Big Bang in terms of all of the games that came off from it. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to hook into that. I'm gonna do a galaxy style map, or a universe style map, and I'm gonna drop in stars and nebula and planets aligning with all of the games that he spoke about in his article. But here's the thing: if you look at I mean, I think it's beautiful, and I think it's held up over time, and I think I had a really nice interpretation of the article itself. But if you look at it, almost every single person, even the nice people, turn around and go, yeah, but what about this game? What about this game? Right? Because there's not many on there if you look at it. It really isn't. And so I can't fault them for that. So last year, I started working on a 2022 version of this. I'm going to redo the cosmology of role playing, and there's going to be over 1,000 titles on it. I've probably got a few hundred on there right now. So if we're talking about projects or we're talking about plans, my plan is to go to GaryCon next year with the 2023, I suppose, birth of cosmology, the cosmology of role-playing games. And I am intending to put almost every single game that has ever been done on it. I have a massive spreadsheet, and I'm working my way through it right now.
Oh my. And it's going to be tough. You gotta do between RPG and board. Some of them were hybrids too, so that's got to be. I mean, can you imagine?
It's tough, man. No, it's tough. I mean, the list that I've got, it starts to go into various hybrids and things.
Yeah.
So I'm still sure someone's going to sit there and go, well, actually, have you got the Ravenloft variants with the Bunnies and Burrows characters? And I'm going to go, no. But I have pulled in something like 3 different solid sources that had, or report to have, like, all of the games since the beginning of time by publisher and year. So I've combined them all into one master list, and I'm kind of hopeful I can get 95% of them on here.
I'm excited just to see it. I mean, and then I have 1 or 2. Well,
it's going to be a great wall poster, man. I promise everyone watching, this thing's going to be spectacular. It's going to be easily, I want to say 40 inches across. I already know what material I'm going to print it on. I'm probably not the canvas. I have a better material to print it on that's crystal clear. And I think we're going to have something really special on our hands.
That's awesome. That is really, really cool. I'm glad you shared this, just to note that that is something that is going to be a full year work. I mean, it's going to have it ready for you. Start working on it every time, and then get here. I'm assuming it's kind of your take a break kind of work, right, from your commissions. And
Yeah,
stuff?
no, it is. Well, and it's kind of it's something that I can't really stream out. It's pretty dry. It can be pretty dry, just throwing labels on a map, right? Because that's most of the work. I mean, it's fun in a way to go, hey, gangsters, do you remember this game? And to talk about it, or, or to go, paranoia. God, did I have fun with paranoia? But you could only do that so much. So I'm not streaming this one. I did want to have it ready for Game Hall this year, but I just can't see it happening. I'm just practically, I can't see it happening. So this is going to be something I work on each week. And let's get it ready for about 9 months' time.
Good. Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely a great thing, and I appreciate you hopping that in there. So, look, a lot of great companies supported game systems published by other companies. Will they be included? Like, give us an example, M5, of what you're talking about for Alyssa. A lot of great companies supported game systems published by other companies. Well, I imagine they'd be down there if you're talking Dungeons and Dragons is supported by other companies, right? Middle Earth role playing has been done by multiple companies too, right? MERP, right? So there's a whole bunch of them that are done. I think that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna let me give you some examples. And these are just ones I've not heard of, like Wushu by Bayan.org or Y Modus by Dark Juju Games. Yizgoth by Ragnarok Games, Zaibatsu by Zoza Games. I mean, I'm really trying to go right down into it. Universalis by Ramsheed Publishing, Toon by Enterbrain. So, and I've got
Wow.
1,061 games and publishers on my list.
Nice. That's crazy. But so cool. Looking forward to that. And look, you see, what year was this? 2004? I'm guessing. When was this? Gygax 1 magazine. Anyone know?
Gygax 1, I thought was more like 2012.
Was it 2012? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know there was only, 4 or 5 of them brought out.
That was a shame. I mean, I'm not going to get into what happened behind it, but I wanted to get heavily involved in that. I wanted to even be writing, an article for them, maybe showing a how-to each magazine or each issue. So it's a shame that it kind of couldn't get past certain things.
Yeah. I know Leonard, instead of Lehman's Tiny Hut, he called it Lehman's Secure Shelter or something. He just changed the name of it, just to make sure he was okay with the WotC thing. Which I may have to go through a lot of that soon too.
Yeah.
So, but that is awesome. Good start. Very good start there. So, Anna, I know you got the one big thing that for you.
Oh yeah.
Me,
So we don't need to dig into that just yet. So,
yeah. But with that, what's long term?
Long term for me, well, we have the Altamira project. That's the big thing, and we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to show some concept and kind of tell from a cartography perspective how to attack a project of that magnitude, so to speak, because I think that's kind of interesting too, and that's something I want to upgrade, make an update every other mapping show or so, and kind of talk where we are and what kind of phase it should go into, both as a teaser and also to tell others a little bit when you have a huge project like this, how you go about doing it, so to speak, and live. And I'm also going to live stream some of the mapping.
So I don't know
the line too.
I don't know if Alyssa knows what we're talking about.
No, so that's the thing. So we get into it. But the other long-term project
It's like, what the
that
hell are you talking about?
It's like, yeah, that's the thing. We're trying to keep you in the dark.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
No,
So
no, it's
Jay
just
will take it in a few minutes. The
yeah,
other
yeah.
big thing that I'm doing right now, starting ramping up, is the 598 map update, the final illustration update, so to speak. So that is a big thing. The 576 map is ramping down, or it's I'm almost done with the atlas. The only part is the credit page and the index. So I'm going to see if I can get Dwayne Costa to help me out with the index this year too. I've been so busy with all the other stuff in real life, so we haven't coordinated. So hopefully we can get the index done. Then the whole of the 576 map will be done in that atlas. So then it's the 598 map, and to get that up to the same standard as the 576 map, that will probably require a month of work or something like that. And then it's the heraldry project. I just done 200 out of the 380 shields, and so my patrons got a set of 30 today, and they are cool. Some of the ones that were very, very simple and I didn't like the design at all, and some of them were cluttered and difficult, and I didn't like them much. Now when I really textured them and put some effort into them, I really like them. Two shields that I didn't like at all were the living Greyhawk ones for Knurl, for the county of Knurl and the city of Knurl. I didn't like them at all when I saw them in LG. Now when they're based on the same design. I just tweaked it and got them stylish, textured and stuff. Now I really like them. So there was a bunch of them. That the same thing with Knights of Luna. I did some tweaking, and we'll see if you like it, because I wanted to have an elven style of it, because I simply assumed that they did art a little bit different. So I kind of tweaked it a little bit, and I think they look, in my opinion, they look cool, so to speak. So we'll see what you other guys think.
That's awesome.
Yeah, with it. So there's more and more heraldry coming in, and I thought that was just going to be a little test, and people seem to like it, and I really like to do it. It's one of these fun things that if you have an hour, you can do 2 shields or 3 or 4 sometimes, because some of them take 15 minutes, some of them takes an hour, but it's small bite-sized things that are easy to do. Then I can just do it, so to speak. They don't require much planning. You can just sit and tweak and then figure out things. So it's, some of them are really tricky. So when you have like the sea lion from Medigia, that one was more tricky than I thought to get it right. I have to find an open source old heraldry picture and then tweak it and tweak it and tweak it. So then I got it right. So that's one of the big projects, but that's the ongoing at the moment, so to speak. And then it's the ever undertaking of learning new software. So that is a biggie this year, because there is a new version of Gaia. I'm ramping in a whole new production line, so to speak, into it. And now comes the big thing. Should the Altamira project be run using the World Machine that I've been using for 10 years? And I can get good results, or should I use Gaia that I'm just learning, that can get simply extraordinary, fantastic results but I don't know exactly how to do it yet. So I'm going to test for a couple of weeks and see if I dare to jump into the big one with Gaia. So we'll see. Yeah.
And we will
It's that problem, isn't it? That age problem, where it's like, that tool is better, but you're going to reset your skill level
exactly
to 0.
Yep.
And that can be so off-putting, but that's where you need to be going.
Oh yeah, it's meaning I can work 5 minutes in Gaia and I make something that looks absolutely fantastic. But and it will take me 2 days to do World Machine. The problem is that I don't know exactly how to tweak it to get it exactly the way I want it. It looks fantastic, but it might not be the terrain I want. In the World Machine, that's the other thing. I can do exactly what I want, but to make it look really good, that takes forever in World Machine. So maybe I have to tweak using both of them and combine the two together in the meantime. So that might be a compromise with the two, so to speak.
I do have a question. The heraldry, How long do you think that's going to take you to finish? Do you have a target?
I hope that by August, September, then I will have all of it. And because this fall I want to do a heraldry compendium and a heraldry poster.
Okay, cool.
That's the goal.
Then penance, eventually, right? The penance,
Oh,
flags.
yes, yeah, and I also want
Yeah.
to, yeah, exactly. I want to. That's a project for next year. So when I'm done with all the heraldry, then I will start doing flags, pennants, battle standards, and stuff like that. So because now I'm starting to get those Photoshop skills up and running. So yeah.
Mike Disney, thanks for the raid in. Great to see you streaming some nice painting. Hang out, everyone. $25 gift certificates for our games tonight. Plus, we got some really great discussion on on this show, making plans for this year at Post GaryCon. Our first one after that. This is our 11th episode. We're almost to a year.
Yeah.
Next month is a year, which is where the time go. So,
so Elisa,
that answers that then. Like it's the anniversary edition.
Yeah, exactly. We need
it has to be the anniversary edition.
Yeah.
Who should we get?
Anna and Alyssa are one.
Yeah. So Alyssa, what's your big projects? You kind of
yes, and I can always switch the screen. I can go to any of your pictures you have here if we need to.
Well, let's bring up, I guess, the Gaslight one because I can actually touch upon Chaosium Con a little bit.
Oh, thank you, Patrick. Just gave Alyssa a sub.
Hey, thank you, Canadian Ancient Gamer. And you know what, Ancient Gamer, I will take it as a good handle.
Let's. I did it again. Hit the wrong button again. My gosh, everyone. Oh, I am so yes.
There you go.
This is. I mean, this is like. I have that. I have Gaslight 1890 insert. I have this. I'll put them all.
Yeah, so I mean, you could sort of play through them however you sort of feel is appropriate. That one, I don't know what happened to that one. I must have given you. Oh, you know, I'm actually thinking about turning this map into like a wood carved etch thing, like a laser cut.
Oh,
and I'm playing around with it to sort of see how that would turn out. And
you wanted to outline streets and stuff, so it would be more visible in a woodcut or something.
Can you imagine doing a woodcut with just the streets? Well, it would end up looking something like that. And I thought that could actually start looking pretty rad. But that's to one side. So as some of you may know, I've been working on Gaslight London for Chaosium. I'm currently adding all of the labels for the alleyways and the streets because they're going to be doing a poster version of it. But I had the really good fortune to meet Mike Mason at Chaosium Con and have a natter, and I actually shared a panel with him, which was hella fun. But he announced on the panel that they're actually going to be releasing a campaign set for their re-release of Gaslight London, which they've not done before apparently, and they want me working on the maps for it. He announced that during the panel, so that was fun.
That's
awesome. That's definitely something in the offing. That's definitely part of my plan. Chaosium are definitely a part of an inner circle of companies I would consider, yes, of course, I'm going to do maps for you category. But also, and I can't show you the map, unfortunately. And Jay, I promise you, when I can, we will do it.
Right,
on the show.
I understand, NDA.
But it was announced at Chaosium Con that they being Chaosium, are going to be doing Rivers of London. It's a famous book series.
I can show the book.
England. Yes, do it. I sent a clip. There you go, Rivers of London. It's a huge series. I think they've got about 6 books out right now. Massively popular. And Chaosium have the license to do a whole set of, a setting and adventures based upon Rivers of London. The entire audience were like, woo, when it was announced. I did the map for this. And I haven't been able to actually even talk about it up until recently. And I can't show you it, but it's a very different style for me. It's also London. So last year I drew 2 London maps, very different eras, very different styles. And I think I'm kind of part of the Chaosium family now. So I'm hoping that we can do more work together in the future. Massively looking forward to it. Look at the details on this thing, Jay. I mean, it's just been such a joy to work on.
Wow.
Yep.
I've been throwing
fantastic.
What was the population of this? It's 1890, correct?
This is 1890. I don't actually know what the population of London was in 1890. I'm sure someone in the chat can tell us.
Okay.
There were many hundreds of thousands, I believe. Maybe
I
even the
imagine there's
million.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the most I know London at one point was the most populous city in the world at one point.
Mhm. That
So
was probably the time when it was probably still maybe the biggest city, or at least the close, maybe New York or someone else had taken over by then.
Right.
But yeah.
very cool. Yes,
This has been fun. Just I've got all of the railways on here. I've
Yeah,
got
look at that
all of
right
the
there.
actual
Yep.
the stations on here. I've got police stations. I've got courts. I've got public courts. I've got
5.5 million.
boarding houses are on
Yeah.
here because that was a thing that they tracked back then. I've got it all. It's been a labor of love, and I don't think the Chaosium crew were quite expecting this when I sent it across to them.
Really?
Yeah, it's so cool.
Because they were like this level of detail and this level of
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think they wanted a 2-page spread,
Right.
in the book, and I'm British by birth, so they were like, "Well, we'll go and listen to do it." Would you be interested in drawing London, dear lady? They probably didn't expect me to fall out of my seat because it's Chaosium. You all know I love Call of Cthulhu, but I mean, I actually spoke to them. I'm like, I normally kind of go all in when I'm doing big city maps, and they were like, just do your thing, do your thing. So I was like, I actually, honestly, I kind of wanted to do a mic drop. I'm like, if you're going to ask me to draw London, I'm going to draw London. It's not going to be some basic thing here. I'm going to do it, and you're going to know I did it. That's kind of my objective with this map.
Yeah, well, it's awesome.
It might be the best map of London at that time period in the world.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I've had huge fun. The reason why I bring this one up is not only because it was announced that I'm going to be working again with Chaosium, and of course they did talk about Rivers of London, but also I've decided that part of my future, my planning is I'm going to do less commissions, and I'm going to do more maps of this era across the world. I'm going to draw New York. I'm going to do San Francisco. I'm going to do Paris, Shanghai. That is my intent, and that's going to become part of my repertoire moving forwards now. Yep. This unlocked something for me because there's a huge amount of there's research and digging through old maps in various collections, and I love that. I'm like, I want to do more of that. I want to find 1890 or 1920s Paris and draw it my style, draw it, try to emulate how the artists back then did it. I like that part of the challenge. So that's what I'm doing from now on. More of this.
Oh, that's so cool.
Even with all the Greyhawk commission stuff being attempted to be thrown at your way from Gary Con that we really haven't even discussed.
I think you.
And the funny thing was that I kind of threw a curveball at Alyssa during the show when I was talking about one person and you had been approached by another person, right? That was kind of what the confusion was. So 2 different people approached Alyssa to do Greyhawk city maps.
Well, we should talk about that one next because I want to know Anna's now.
Oh, our secret? Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So Jay, tell what the base of this project, and then we can go in on the cartography.
Okay. So everyone knows that back. This is actually 7 years into our campaign, so I can't say it from the beginning. But back in around 1987, we had a weekend in Fairfax, Virginia, where Marco was staying for the summer with his sister, and myself and Tim and Tom, Walt, we all drove down there, and we finished Temple of Elemental Evil, and then we had what are we going to do on that last day? And I ran one where 3 knights. Characters founded in this open area of, and I'm trying to get a map up here right now. Sorry, just a picture of the Greyhawk map. Actually, I don't need the Greyhawk map. I can do this. You caught me off guard, Anna, and plus, with me, that's all. No. All right, so here it is on the table. So, and it wasn't like this, but 3 knights founded this area, and they just called it the Cavalier site because there's 3 keeps, and from around that, we have this circular walled city grow out the free city of Altamira. So, and it's been a mainstay in the game. It's mine. There's barely any published source content in it, right? Except for the Order of Ulick, that name, which is about it. So I don't even know how to start. I think Chuck. I gotta say, I think Chuck Cumbo was the one that really pushed this. He pushes with Steve and Chenault. We should do this in some kind of publication. So we kind of Anna and I met with Stephen Chenault and Tim and Chuck at our table in the club, right? And finalized this. And so now our goal is, and we're doing the preliminary. We're doing all the preliminary work. We got all the documents set up. But what we're gonna, and that's what Anna's gonna show some stuff on this. We're gonna do a Free City of Altamira full box set, like the Free City of Greyhawk. So we're gonna crank out a city setting box set, and we're hoping, and this is where it has a spot in Aird where we have to sanitize it. There's a chance we may not have to do that, or we'll do both. So we'll see. So that's all I can say about that from that end. So Anna is going to be doing all the cartography. We're going to take an area, and Anna's going to show you some of that stuff. And I'm excited. And we're going to have the Kickstarter. We're going to kickstart it. We're going to have all these goals where we do all sorts of bonus things, including 3D prints and adventure cards. And it's going to be a huge. I want it to be. I don't want to do this once in my life because this is a huge undertaking. I want it to be as good as the Free City Grout box set. That's my goal. Hardback book inside and all the other goodies inside. I don't know what I miss in this.
No, that was. I think that's a good.
Yes.
A good basic description of it. So.
Thank you, Greg.
So yeah. So then comes the fact, and we cannot say for there might be some people here in the audience who are not that familiar in Greyhawk. So we have it's on the wild coast. It's Mediterranean kind of climate. There is an evil forest on not too far away, and there's a river passing, and there's mountains on one side. So we will dig into that in a little bit. So it's kind of in the middle of the setting, but just a little bit offside from where the main action happens from a lot of it. But it's close by the center of the setting.
Yeah,
so
and I don't have anywhere near what I should have. You've seen this. I've shown this a couple times.
Yeah.
This is all I have of this
Yep.
shitty rough sketch that I did, right? And that
Yep.
is it. But we want to turn it into a full. Hey, Josh! I thought you were playing a game.
But this is typical, meaning most projects that you start with. So this is kind of, now you see how cartographer's life is, so to speak. You start with a project, and basically all we have in detail of the city is we have this circular little done on a napkin kind of map, and that's kind of typical. You get a sketch that looks like this, but crucially we have one other detail in this project. We have where the city is in the world because we placed it on my Flanies map.
Yes, and that was almost 3 years ago, right? It's been a while since it's been placed. It's
so we placed it. So, and Jay, you placed it. We placed it together, and we kind of.
Well, it was always there. It was always there on the map. That's where it always was. And I unfortunately, you caught me off guard with me putting up my maps here.
But you have my slides. So
yes.
In Dropbox, hopefully.
One second here. I want to just show how old. Pomarsh. Okay, it should be on here. So this look, this is the Darlene map.
Go.
Look, and this is, there it is. It's up here, Altamira. So that's how old it's been in that same location. It's here. Look, Outpost 1, where we were venturing on Thursday nights here. So that just, and this is me with Dangerous Me in probably the 80s with, late 80s, early 90s with, what's the one from Canada?
Oh, Corel Draw.
Corel. Yeah, this is me with Corel Draw. Like, oh, I can do this. It's like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
That's where I were in the 90s with Corel Draw.
Yeah, so and that is my, just showing where it is. And then if we go to, and you've all seen this, everyone. We're just doing a synopsis. 1 sec here. I got so many freaking maps. 2022-1. That should be this one. Okay. And this shows it a little bit better, right? On the, on the map
so there you have it on the Flanies map, so to speak.
Yeah.
So we have this to do, and since this is going to focus on the city, but in order to make a city map, at least from my perspective, I need to place the city, give it context, so to speak. I need to know where the city is in the world, what the world looks like, and there's a whole bunch of questions and stuff to know, so to speak. So this is what the so you can zoom in just a little bit and around it, so to speak. There you go. So there we have the surrounding terrain and a little bit, but but each pixel here is roughly a mile. So it doesn't give any details at all.
Right.
Meaning it's like a universe between that circle that we need to put with the buildings and this, because the circle is smaller, way smaller than the symbol is there. So
And
yeah.
you got to have the kumquat symbol on that.
Oh
shield,
yeah.
of course.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I was like, what? I was like, what? Kumquat? What the?
Oh yeah,
frick
it's
is
so
that?
cool. Yeah, it's
The
awesome.
kumquat
Yep.
tree. Yeah. So this is the basis. Steven was like, this is awesome. All in on this. We got everything all set up. Now it's just a matter of getting it to the Kickstarter point, and that's the goal, is to have this almost finalized 100% by GaryCon next year.
Yep.
That's a goal. So we go to GaryCon next year with this. So,
So that means that
let's
it's
hope.
time to start doing the groundwork. And,
The tough groundwork, yes,
Yeah,
which-
exactly. So from a mapping perspective, I need to concentrate. My goal is to have the area about 10 miles, about 10 miles in every direction from the city.
This is what you did here.
Yeah, exactly. So that is the same we
Right.
saw from the previous, so to speak. So that's what it looks like on the map. And now I need to ask a bunch of questions. And now comes the tricky bit, why I don't get hired by a lot of publishers, because I forced a lot of dumb questions on them, so to speak, that they need to answer. And in order to make this area look really cool and be believable and actually match the story, we need to answer a lot of questions. And we can start with climate, meaning what type, meaning is this the jungle, polar region, desert, boring, normal European temperate, or what is it? And in this area, I think it's kind of warm Mediterranean climate almost, and up in the slopes of the mountains, it's kind of humid temperate. So that's roughly where we have, and then Mediterranean kind of on the humid side of Mediterranean with the sus forest and stuff. That's roughly where we have the climate. So it's kind of the warmer side, somewhere in southern France, maybe something like that in climate. So it's not desert-like, but it's definitely on the warm side. You don't get harsh winters, you don't get glaciation, haven't affected the landscape and stuff like that. So that, and then we have the next part, that's topography, meaning elevation, meaning how high are the mountains? Is it just floodplain, the whole thing, and stuff like that. We have.
Well, let's talk about that, Anna.
Yep.
We're going to slightly move it from where I have it. You want to
Okay.
put it on a slightly higher plateau.
Yeah,
Right,
it
on a
depends
flat
on where
area.
you're
And I
going.
think
Yeah.
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
But where that plateau's longer, it's not just straight up to the mountainside to it, but the plateau's actually bigger than
yeah, we
it's
need
itself.
to-
I think
yeah.
it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of stuff when I'm 21 years old and hang out with my friends, I don't think about this stuff. Oh, we're just gonna
Yep.
put a city there, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
you can't do that, you know. So yeah, there's
Exactly.
gonna be some
we need
slight
to-
changes. Yeah.
Exactly. We need
Yeah.
to make the context, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we can see that the Lort Mill foothills here are probably 3, 5, maybe 6,000 feet highest elevation on the map, and then it's low. The river is kind of maybe a couple of feet above sea level, and the sus forest is mostly flat, so to speak. No big hills, maybe small ones here and there and stuff like that, and still some character to the landscape. We're not talking Holland or the Mississippi floodplain, but it's kind of in the east part is flat, and then we have a lot of mountains and hills and stuff in the western part. Vegetation, this is kind of an interesting bit, and we're going to look into each of these in further slides. I'm just asking the questions here, so to speak. Vegetation is kind of interesting because we have an area that can have a lot of vegetation, meaning we have a vegetation friendly climate, meaning we have warm, temperate, kind of Mediterranean, meaning we can have forests of all kinds, and we have mountains and stuff. So we can have everything from conifers up in the mountains to really nice leafy broadleaf forests that over, and we have a dark fey sus forest that is full of monsters of all kinds of stuff. So that means that we get a lot of oomph in vegetations, which is kind of fun from a cartography perspective. Then we have one other key aspect is drainage, meaning how much water, rivers, marshlands and stuff is in this area. And we know that there are big marshes in the sus forest south of here because they are depicted and talked about in the Gourd books and various others. And the Jewel River is not one of the biggest rivers in the Flanies by a long shot, but it's big enough to be significant, so to speak. So there should be So we're talking a river that is hundreds of feet wide in a lot of areas and has a lot of floodplains, marshlands, and stuff like that surrounding it. And then we have a couple of tributaries, and then there will be way more, so to speak. So go back again to, yeah, so we have drainage, and then we have the now we're getting into inhabitants, because they shape the landscape more or less depending on who they are. So who lives here? Meaning, is it urban, full of agriculture, full of, or is it like a lot of orc tribes that damage everything, chop it down, or whatever? Or are they elves that, or druids that tend to maintain perfect wilderness or stuff like that? So that's the question to ask, meaning how many people live here, and what's their general attitude to nature, and also what do they eat? Meaning, are they hunters? Are they huge in agriculture? Meaning, have they turned every possible flat area into a field? Do they have a lot of cows and cattle and sheep, so they do pasture, and meadows are the big thing? Or are they grain producers, or whatever? Things like that affects the landscape. And also, are they cult members? So they have a lot of demons running around, and stuff like that, that poops and pees and do lots of nasty things, worse than that demons and others do. And that might also affect the landscape. Are they elementalist? Maybe there are a lot of fires, or whatever fun. Meaning, we can even have fantasy stuff that affects what the landscape look like.
So
Yeah.
Dave asked, DM Dave asked a great question, and
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. How far is it navigable? Because I don't think anyone has ever discussed that. So
Yeah.
I know.
It depends on what they.
Yeah,
I've looked
bounce back
into
and
this on my river map that I did a couple of years ago. So we have fairly good navigation up to Thunderstrike, that is
Right.
downriver. And that's probably one of the reasons that, and I kind of made that decision because that's why you have Thunderstrike there, because you can take fairly large boats up and down the river from Thunderstrike. So the river upstream to Altamira, you can go in small boats and rowing boats, canoes, and so on, but you can't take really large barges
There,
and stuff. So
up
it's a
to
river that is,
Thunderstrike.
exactly, so it's a river that is not completely flat, and there's might be a tendency of little streams here and there, and
Yeah.
the river start having a little bit of character. It's not completely flat floodplain, but after thunder strikes all the way out to the ocean, it's kind of flat, smooth going from there on, so to speak.
So, and we'll bounce back to this, so that way we go between Alyssa and us and
Yeah.
Anna. This has given me Anna's thinking about everything is good, because this is stuff that I would not know where to begin on. So Anna and I have we're partnered 50-50 on this, by the way. So everyone knows this is a joint deal, okay? Because it's just she's going to be doing as much work as I am with all this planning and stuff. So I'm so glad that she's like this is the weeds that Anna gets into that I just.
I need to, so I'm going to ask all these questions, and then Jay have to start thinking what he wants in on it, and then it's up for me to ask follow-on questions and try to get to figure out what the landscape looks like from all the answers we get from Jay and from other sources of stuff too. So but it's Jay as the final word on it, so to speak. So it's my duty right now is to set all the criteria for questions and stuff, so we can kind of get those inputs into to get the process rolling, so to speak, from a cartography perspective. And then there's one last question on that, and that's who used to live here.
Right.
Because it's not only the current inhabitants that affects what a landscape look like, meaning are the previous ones, the timber, they might be, their biggest thing was boat building. So or timbering. So they cut down every tree 50 miles away from the city and shipped them down because that was their biggest export. Or maybe they were cultists and had demons running around burning stuff everywhere, or whatever. Meaning I'm saying extremes here because just to set you an example. Or were they just doing mild agriculture, or was this recently formed as a city and it was just a little village? There was nothing here, so there was wilderness up until 50 years ago. That will also affect what the landscape looked like, so to speak.
So
Meaning, are they ancient ruined villages everywhere from a previous civilization, or not, so to speak? Yeah.
couple things, and then we'll bounce. Everyone's saying, I can't wait to see what you do when it's neutrally placed. Well, note, we already have a spot set and aired for this. It'll go pop,
Yep.
pop in there.
Yep.
Please note, we're making an attempt because Stephen Chenault's got Alyssa, great reputation. Stephen Chenault has reached out to certain powers that be to see if we can maybe leave it where it is. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, it's a long shot, but we're gonna try. You never
What do you
know.
mean, leave it where it is?
Yeah.
And Greyhawk.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a long shot.
We'll
but
see if Jay. Yeah, Jay is the one that knows something about this. So
yeah.
we'll see.
So
Yep.
we'll see what happens.
Yep.
It's, let's just say we've not gotten a no yet. So, which would be unbelievable. If it's a long shot.
Earlier on, you said that you wanted to have this done by the next GaryCon. Do you mean kickstarted, printed, published?
Kickstarter's goal is 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8 months to have this kickstarted. Stephen wants a majority of the written out, the outline, all those works done, and Anna's probably gonna have to do 8 to 10 maps for it, right, Anna? For the most, yeah. It's gonna be. We want a bot. We don't just want a book, of the city. We want the whole area, adventures, hooks, all that stuff. We want we want a whole encompassing. I just, if I'm gonna do it, I want to do this grandiose. So.
Yep.
And that's So that's what
But
the goal.
not for GaryCon next year.
That's the idea.
You don't think we can do it in a year?
All of this?
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's what I wanted to be.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yep.
That's the goal.
Okay.
That's the goal, to maybe have it in a it could be maybe pre-production at that point, or we'll see.
Well, this show is called about making plans, and that's
exactly. Exactly. So we're super excited that Trollord is really stoked on this. We have the Skype. Steven's a big Skype person. You probably know that, Alyssa, and we got the Skype things going, back and forth. I'm really excited. And I know I'm going to make it affordable. It's not going to be $500 there, Patrick. Trust me, it'll be fine. It'll be affordable. It'll be something. We're gonna get it. It's gonna be a cool item.
No, but hopefully you have a version with a solid steel slipcase that's for 500 or something.
Well, yeah, kind of like the Starship Warden had the letter book. Yeah, I think there's going to be all sorts of Kickstarter goals.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
exciting times.
Yes.
What's the next slide?
I wanted to hop to you, Alyssa. I don't want to hog up all this.
No. Anna's on a roll here.
Are you sure?
But yeah, we have a couple of more slides.
I didn't. Okay, I'm trying. You know
Let's
me.
stay on this project. I appreciate the sentiment.
Okay,
Yep.
I just want to make sure. I just want to.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
I did it again. 3 in a row. By the
I
way.
was waiting for it that time.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Alyssa get the limelight here.
Matt, here's the thing. If by some quirk of fate we get disapproved, we will have it in maybe multiple CNC and that dreaded 5e, maybe in both. Who knows? Just we haven't gotten to that point yet because that yes has not come. If it's aired and neutrally placed, it'll only be CNC. With my spin on it. I will have custom classes in there, all sorts of custom spells. A lot of my campaign will be rules and quirks will be in this too. So it'll be old school. No matter what, it's going to be old school part of it. So you don't have to worry about that. So go ahead, Anna.
So this is the terrain, what it looks like on the current Flanies map. I enlarged it a little bit, so it's a little bit fuzzy, so to speak. But this is the source terrain we have to work with, and now is the chance to kind of tweak it a little bit. But we are going to go from 1 mile per pixel, roughly, to 5 feet per pixel. This is so there is a whole bunch of detail that going to be introduced. It will be the porta potty scale at least, and then the city map itself will be way more detailed than that. But so what I need to do is to start thinking about elevation, because now it's planned to start making it into a 3D terrain, so to speak, a 3D virtual terrain. So go to the next slide, and so I've taken this terrain, and here is sample of the terrain, so to speak, that I've just derived. Because the problem is that Flanies map looks cool, but is not real 3D terrain. So now I need to start concepting this from a real perspective, and we can see that we have the main Jewel River, and you have the low-lying areas where there's swamps and stuff, and it's flowing, and then you have various hills and mountains around it, and with various valleys and stuff, and a lot of detail added, so to speak. So here is have a first kind of concept that I need to work from when I start working in Gaia or World Machine to actually do it. And go to the next one, because now we can derive, that was only the rivers that was on the existing map. Now we can actually deduce where a lot of other additional rivers will be. So go to the one after that one.
Oh, nice.
Exactly. So now we have more rivers, and these are rivers that we can already say that they will be where, that's the place where they will be, so to speak. So all of these rivers is something that I have to need to go and construct in World Machine or Gaia. And then from there on, there will be a finer network of little creeks. That will be 10 times more of them, small lakes and stuff like that, that will be generated automatically in the terrain tools, so to speak, and so they will come on top of it, so to speak. But these are rivers that are big enough that you can take a rowboat or a canoe on all of the ones that are on this map, so to speak. So that now we're talking things that are 100 feet or 50 feet or at least 30 feet wide. But I'm talking all the little creeks that are 5 or 10 feet wide. That you have to, yeah.
And please also note that Stephen has said, whatever you got to do to that area, placing it is fine with me, Anna. Right?
Yeah.
So we can, that area is, there it's gonna change.
Yep.
Yeah. So
and
don't worry about that.
So and also this area across is almost 100 miles, and there you have the next one. Here we're looking at vegetation, where forests are and not, so to speak. So the green areas are where forests predominantly, that's dominated by forest, or some of them are a little bit less, so it's kind of grassland, but it's where you have bush, shrubs, and forest, mostly forest in that area. And the gray areas are things where you only have grassland or bare rock, and so not much vegetation, so to speak. And that's also important for me to start looking at from various other terrain texturing perspective and stuff like that. So it's coming. And then we have one other thing that really affects map making, and that is civilization. So that's the purple thing that I put on top, so to speak. Those are areas where that people live, enough people
Up to
live
Cowerwood.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that people live
trails.
enough density to affect the terrain, meaning they cut down trees, they plant things, they have meadows where a lot of animals go grazing, fields and more roads, trails, buildings and stuff like that will be in those areas. And then there will be occasional things in other places, but that's the one we know about already going into the project, so to speak. And then Jay and me, we have to kind of go over if there are other stuff, meaning Jay might want, now is the time to put in, and that's the red square is the area that will actually be included in that we actually concentrated. The rest of it is just to get, for me to get the picture of what is the river going in and out, and
or add-ons,
so,
you never know.
exactly, and
that's
add-ons and stuff. So so we need to prep. So I always prep 4 or 5 or maybe 10 times more than I need in order to know that if we need to expand, I don't need to start from scratch. So always do more research and always think. So everything needs to be put in context, so to speak.
How big is that? 20 by 20? Matt Melman, is it 20?
That's about 15 by 15
15
miles.
by 15 miles. So
so it's about 200 square, a little bit over 200 square miles.
Yeah, think about that. It's 200 square miles of content to put in that area.
That, so to speak. So there is a lot of stuff you can have just in that. So and
there'll be other things. So it'll go a direction based on what happens with our discussions.
Exactly,
with
that
certain
we can
powers
see.
That be, right?
And meaning the stretch goals or whatever, or what the project can, or future projects or whatever. So, but from a cartography perspective, I need to be prepped for eventualities that might happen, so to speak, and I need to have that in project inline, so to speak. I know, and that affects, meaning how much vertical terrain do I need to go to, because the mountains, the further you go up in the Lort Mills, the higher the mountains are. That means that I have to take height in my data set in order to kind of case in for the having taller mountains means that I have to take height for them, so to speak, on my height maps and stuff. So there's a lot of considerations like that we need to know going into the project. So yeah.
Samuel, it's only 15 by 15. Almer's 200 miles across, isn't it? So that's 400,000 square miles. Right?
Oh,
I think, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Almer's,
this is 50 by 15.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's gonna. What's up, Tim? It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's daunting.
Yep.
But if Alyssa can do that map behind her, we can do this.
We can do this. Yeah. Yeah. And thankfully, I've already done one of these areas for my Shieldlands campaign. So this is basically repeating the same thing, but for this area. So technically, I know what I'm doing now. And if you asked me a couple of years ago, I would be like, oh, I don't know how to do it. Now I've actually done it once, so I know it can be done. It's just that I want to do it a little bit faster, and I want to be able to do. Now it needs to be done on time, on budget, and I want the results to be even better.
And the resolution will be the same as your Shieldlands.
Yes, it will be porta potty scale,
right?
On the large
5
area map, and then we go
insane.
into the town, and then we can increase that by 10 times. So we can have 50 pixels per 5 feet or something like that. So then we get into Alyssa's resolution when she works on.
And you're doing this. You're getting the town done as well for.
Oh yeah, we need to. Yeah,
Alyssa's like,
yeah. But the thing is that then I have the base map to go by, so to speak. So it's
how many people live there?
So that's the other thing.
See,
that's
this is where remember when I'm a DM, I'm not a numbers. I'm not a unique person. I'm not thinking all this, which I should be, but I'm not. So we're thinking between 8,000 and 10,000. It's not large.
Yep.
It's not like Greyhawk City. It's a fortress, a secure fortress area that's turned. It's basically grown into a city with a little bit of overspill around outside the walls. So yeah, it's not. So yeah, if it was 100, if it was a million or 500,000, no way.
Oh, then we would need 3 years.
Yeah, no. This is around 10,000. Yeah. It's not super good. So will the full map fit on Jay's table? No. Oh, you mean the map itself? Not on my
terrain. How big we print it, so to speak. And I don't know. I don't think we nailed down exactly the print size yet.
Alyssa, we may drown in this too. I just don't know. But I don't like half-assing.
I think it's going to be a spectacular box set, and I think everyone in the channel right now is extremely excited for it.
Yep.
And the direction of where it will be placed depends on others. It's going to be, no matter what, we're gonna have an aired version of it. So for Troller Games' world, but it could go somewhere else as well, or it could stay right where. We'll just see. We'll just see.
So these were my initial thoughts and questions and kind of concept to start attacking the project, so to speak. So this is stage one. It's to get the big picture, start thinking of where the parameters are and the general picture, and then work from there, so to speak. And then when I start mapping it, then it's time to look at the city itself, exactly what the terrain looks like. Do the same thing we did for the general area, for the local area, for that square mile or 5 square miles or whatever the actual settlement is, so to speak.
Thanks.
So that comes next step after this. Yeah.
You have a slide for the city too?
No, not yet. Oh, Jay showed the only map we have.
I have pictures. So what we're doing now is Stephen wants 100 discussed locations, which I think is easily done. I think I have 70 already. And I got my guys helping me out, and we're doing a whole bunch of background and church, what churches we want there, what businesses we want there. The town's broken into sections already, so it's out of my wheelhouse, Alyssa, and that's why I have a piece of paper with a circle on it for 20 years. because this is out of my wheelhouse. But DMing, that's in my wheelhouse. So merge the two. I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you had a nice compliment there in a whisper.
Thank you.
We'll take advice all the time, and maybe we Kickstarter up a level. Alyssa, you're doing a bump up Kickstarter for someone else, right? I just saw you. I did a map out. Was that Shintufi? You're doing something for Luke and Casey?
Yes.
Yes, I saw
I
that.
had no idea who Shintufi was.
Okay.
I've never heard of Shintufi.
Yes, it's almost like a backloonish version for Luke's, right? Okarim.
I thought it was Okarim.
Yeah,
Right?
Okarim. Shintufi's, I think, a city in Okarim. Is that it?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Okarim. Yeah.
Luke approached me a couple of months ago, a month ago probably,
Thank you, good time.
and sort of said, "Hey, will you be a stretch goal in my Kickstarter?" It's Luke, so I said yes before I thought about the ramifications. And I don't actually know what I'm drawing, but apparently he hit that stretch goal. I'm going to be drawing some maps for Luke as well as the other stuff I'm working on, and I don't know what they are. It might be a dungeon, it might be a chapel, it might be a city. Who knows? It's like a potluck.
Okay, and that's a great thing. So they
I've
got
done maps for him and Arkham before, and I like working with Luke. I mean, he's the captain,
Yeah.
I mean, we're all here to, help Luke out.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm going to do with this one as well. So I'm sure at some point, someone in the project is going to go, okay, so these are the maps we need, and they'll get in touch. I'll probably reach out to them here shortly.
It's fantastic to see all of this going on as far as I don't know. It's a lot. Maybe it's just because I wasn't involved in depth as much, but it seems like there's been an explosion of outside of WotC. We're talking about a lot of third-party companies. There's a lot of projects going on this year. Is that
Yep.
is that what you see, Alyssa?
Yeah, well, no, I definitely do. But I think Anna nailed it in a conversation that she and I had a couple of months ago. Anna, you were sort of talking, I forget the context of where we were now, but you mentioned that the popularity of Dungeons and Dragons is only going to spill over into other systems and other settings.
I think so.
And for the small publishers. And I'm actually, I thought it was very insightful, and I'm on board with that theory.
That's cool.
I think that a lot of publishers initially probably thought that, D&D's dominance going to kill the other ones. I think it's been the other way around. Third-party publishers have probably done better now.
Oh, Cobalt Press is going gangbusters.
Exactly.
I mean, unbelievable the stuff they're putting out. Yeah.
Exactly. They brought in a whole generation of new
Yeah.
gamers that never played D&D or any role-playing game before. So
It's the entry drug.
I'm on the Call of Cthulhu side of things, as you guys and girls know. Those are the groups I'm a participant in, and I see nothing but new people flooding into them. A lot of people like coming in saying, "Hey, I'm new to Call of Cthulhu. Where's a good place to start?" Or "I'm new to Call of Cthulhu. What should I buy?" And I'm. It's not just one person here and there. I'm seeing it constantly. And that Chaosium is definitely riding a high right now. And I think it's the popularity of tabletop gaming in general that is to blame for that.
Yep.
So, in synopsis for this, I'm extremely excited. So, just note.
You should be. It's going to be
Thank you.
stellar.
Thank you.
You're going to outdo Reaper, Bones, whatever.
I don't know about now. No, I mean, our goal, because I'm an arrogant SOB, is to make it their largest Kickstarter ever with Troller Games. That's the goal.
We'll try our best to do
That's our
it.
goal.
So, yep.
That's
well, Jay, I will say this: all of the people that were sitting opposite you during my game, a lot of them are collectors. A lot of people would absolutely back this. Just make sure there's a nice little collector's tier for them, and I'm sure they'll be on board.
That's awesome. Great to hear. So, you have some. If you want to talk about this, you may have some Greyhawk stuff going on, correct?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let's talk about this, because you and I haven't really spoken about this.
No,
and Anna almost scared me away from it altogether. But from a research, in fact, let me start at the beginning.
Yes.
A long time ago, boys and girls, settle down with a cup of hot cocoa
Yeah.
as Auntie Alyssa tells you about why she's never mapped in Greyhawk before. The reason is quite simply, and Anna told me like a year or so ago that I really should draw some Greyhawk cities.
Yeah.
And because that's what I'm well known for, that's what I love doing. And my response was like something along the lines of, hell no, because I've dabbled in areas that have had a lot of canon, and it could be a real pain in the ass to an outsider such as myself. I know this much about Greyhawk on a scale of Anna knowing well about the size of this room or the map behind me. I don't know enough. I don't know enough to really be able to sort of wade into Greyhawk without getting a huge learn on. And if there's one thing that I don't like at the beginning of a project, it's a client plopping the book in front of me saying, read that.
Yeah.
Never mind plopping 27 books in front of me. To quote the meme, ain't got no time for that.
Right. Yeah,
So I just don't do it. And I've stayed away from it. That said, I was enjoying GaryCon. I was having a lot of fun. And a certain gentleman called Christoph sat down with me, and I've met him before, and I was having a couple of drinks, so I was merry. And he asked me if I would draw some Greyhawk maps, 1 a quarter, city maps. And like a fool, I agreed. So I'm on board. I'm on board for drawing a Greyhawk city map for a year, I suppose. And maybe, Jay, you could tell us a little bit about Christoph and who he is in the Greyhawk community.
Yeah, Christoph is the Earth Journal editor, and so he has Greyhawk Online. And you know he has a lot of things going on in his plate now. So I was surprised because at the exact same time, Mr. Jimmy Duffy from Praetor's Rejects comes to me, right, and says, I'm doing the Slavers, and the Highport map sucks out of the Slavers thing. And he said, "Do you think I should talk to Alyssa about getting a Highport map?" And that's what I thought you were talking. That's what I thought. So I didn't know about the Christoph thing until we heard. So we had 2 different people going at, because the Highport map is terrible. Everyone knows that. And so Jimmy wants it for a Slavers campaign, and then to give it to the whole community. So maybe there's a happy medium there where that's the first one that gets done.
Well, and so I think go ahead.
I just want to say a little caveat to say, yeah, I don't think that the Highport map is not good, but it's one of the best ones that are published in Greyhawk, and that says a lot about the standard of city mapping.
Thank you for that
in
follow.
published Greyhawk stuff is abysmal. It's from barely okay to abysmal. So there is an enormous amount of room for progress.
Yeah.
So it's easy to make something that is better than the published versions. Yeah,
it's crazy. So that is so I know. And then Jimmy sent me this cryptic Discord message, Alyssa, and said, "Get with Alyssa." I'm like, "What?" I was like, "What?" It's your project, man. I'll sit down and work. We'll get all talk. I was like, so we got a lot of figuring out what's going on.
So he did approach me. So to, I guess, expound upon Christoph's request, I'm going to do a city map. Whoa, I'm out of focus. Hello. I'm going to do a city map every quarter in Greyhawk. But the requirement, at least, was I'm going to do locations that just none of you really know anything about. Maybe there's been nothing written about them yet, and I'm going to draw them. And Jay, that was like the whole bunch of city maps that I threw you, like the one that is up in the bottom corner there, just to give everyone a sense for how my quality of city maps I like to do. And this is
fantastic.
I want to do towns and cities that none of you have really done much with. You don't know much about them, and I'm just going to draw the crap out of them. Okay?
Great, that's fantastic.
Now, that said, Jimmy spoke to me and said, "Will you draw me Highport?" And I was like, not really doing commissions right now. I'm only a month into this promise of doing no commissions, and I just said yes to Luke, so I've already failed. But I said I'm doing this thing for Christoph, and I want to do this thing as honestly as cost effectively as possible.
Sure.
I just want to be able to turn around and give it to my patrons and then you guys do whatever you're going to do. So maybe I will do Highport, but let's get with Christoph and let's see if we can do some kind of everyone gets what they need out of this. And maybe I can give it to my patrons. Maybe Christoph can use it in whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
And Jimmy gets his Highport map. But Highport would be something special because I'd have to put a little bit more love into that one. I think it's a bit more larger.
And the cool thing is that there is a Greyhawk community to reach out to, and I would love to. So just ping me if you want, if you have questions. And there's
I kind of want to get in a position though where people are pushing information to me versus me not knowing what I need.
Well, and that's
this is the crowd, right? This is the crowd here to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really neat that they came to you, both of them at GaryCon, and that's where the confusion came in, because I was talking to one and you were talking to someone else, so listen at the same time, which is really nice.
It's so
and
cool.
I think ultimately we're going to be able to do something for both of them, and I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
This is something I never thought that I would do. So being able to sort of sit on really what is very much a Greyhawk channel with the Greyhawk mistress and queen herself, and say, I'm going to dabble in Greyhawk. It's kind of I am humbled by it.
Yeah,
but the cool thing is the Altamira project, and that you're going to start doing Greyhawk map is leading up to the obvious one in a couple of years. Do you know what I'm talking about?
We're doing Greyhawk City?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Meaning this is the way I look at it.
This is how you scare Alyssa away.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and now I'm putting Alyssa on the spot here, so in front of the audience, she can't back down. No, what I'm thinking is that we have Altamira, and I've done my test grounds for my Shieldlands campaign. We can do Altamira, and Alyssa has done several of her Greyhawk maps. That's when we can dig into the city of Greyhawk and have that as a running project for a couple of years, and hopefully within the next 5 years have a Greyhawk concept map.
Aaron's always thinking out a decade.
Yep. So I'm thinking 5-year terms on most of my projects. So and I think that will be a really, really cool project. And I can't think of two people that are better qualified to tackle Greyhawk city mapping than you and me. If we can do that will be kind of a super team doing this, I think.
Along with all the other.
I don't know if you guys have figured this out about me, and Anna, you might have a clue. I tend to be a little bit of a cocky bitch.
That's great.
I
love it.
But for someone who is, I consider myself to be a very humble person. But it's a little bit like this map behind me. Chaos Zoom says, "Will you draw as 1890 London?" I basically want to throw a mic at them and say, "There, no one's going to follow that." That's kind of how I approach maps. If I ever sat down with the city of Greyhawk, honestly, I would treat it as something where I just want to drop the stylus and sort of say, "There, follow that, bitches." I would take that project very seriously.
Exactly.
I would be drawing each chimney.
That was the idea. Meaning, meaning if we have the terrain and stuff like that. We just need all the buildings detailed. We need to have all these little cool critters in the backyard, the laundry hanging on stuff, and all and what style roof they have and stuff like that.
I mean, I'm drawing roof tiles and
exactly. That's what I mean.
Baskets on the back step. That's what I do.
We can combine forces here. I think that could be a lot of fun.
But this is the crazy thing, and what scares me about the Greyhawk community, because you're going to sit there and say, well, okay, so in 1987 there was a scenario released that says there was a wicker basket on the step of this house.
Exactly.
And I'm going to go, what?
Yep.
See,
that's what we have to deal with.
Yeah. But my project, we don't have to worry about that because it's my content, so we don't have to worry about any of that. But once we get into if you're doing cities that aren't that there's no content for previous maps on, you don't have to worry about it.
And that would be crazy. Meaning the city of Greyhawk needs to have a lot of this, just like me now approaching the planet. It needs to be done with a lot of TLC. And the same thing with the Greyhawks, meaning there needs to be concept, that needs to be and the way I see it is that we need to do a history of the city. We need to start when it was a village and then go on. and forward. So there's, but now I'm going way ahead here.
Well, and
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, as a fellow European, I think we have an innate instinct for
Yes.
that type of thing because
Yep.
we have grown up
Yep.
around that type of thing. So that's
Yep.
how I tend to think about my settlements as
Yep.
well.
So this has been a real surprise of a discussion, I think, to everyone out there, don't you think?
That I got to be honest with you, Greyhawk would scare the crap out of me. It really would.
It
because
scares me too.
I like to draw a building and put some little
Yeah.
steps on the front of
That's-
the building, and then some
Yeah.
dude is going to come along and go, well, actually, there's meant to be only 2 steps on
Yeah.
number 17, whatever street. I'll go, what? Yeah, that's. It sounds like I've been 2 years just researching
mapping
it.
Odd Alley will be a month-long project. There's a whole book
Yeah.
written about it, but that's why we have researchers. that
I'm
can help
drawing
us with that.
ancient Rome right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I have a feeling,
Yeah.
Jay, I do it on my Patreon. I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
I'm
Yeah. I'm on the
and
picture.
when I'm done with it, my patrons are going to get it. So I am literally
Okay.
drawing ancient Rome, and I'm studying it, and I've got the books, I've got the maps, you know. So, and I feel like Greyhawk would be harder.
Not than Rome, but
Well-
it'll be up there. I think at the same level. So yeah,
But I think there's probably more material on what Greyhawk should look like. That's
that
the
might
thing.
be. Yeah.
With Rome, yes, we have a good idea about the big, huge points of interest, but like all of the buildings in between, all of the alleyways and the streets as they were in a certain year,
Yeah.
we don't know. So I have a degree of latitude.
Yeah.
Greyhawk, no latitude.
And also,
No.
yeah, we in Greyhawk we have 2 conflicting versions, so we have to merge the 2.
You missed that, Bal. I was good.
Yep.
I was good as a Call of Cthulhu player, I thought.
Yeah, so I ran a Invectus game Sunday morning. Jay was very kind and graced the
That was
table.
fun.
The group was slightly larger than I would normally do, but I tend to have a lot of people who want to play my games, and it was like, last game I'm gonna run. Let's just all in. And Jay did great, and hopefully, Jay, you had fun with it.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. I got to see, I imagine Call of Cthulhu is a game that you want to play multiple sessions over. One-shotting it is tough, just like any game. It's tough to do that. DMing games at cons is not easy, especially if you're going to get out of the room now. You know what I mean? That's not an easy thing to do. So, hey, wondering.
Well, my plan actually moving forward to go slightly off
Please,
script
Patrick.
here. At North Texas, I'm actually going to start running 8-hour games, so I can get something
Wow.
meatier in there. So anytime I run, I think I'm going to do an 8-hour session. But someone had an idea based upon the fact that my real life group is shrinking in size right now, of me running at every single convention I go to an ongoing campaign. And so you can take your character away. I meet you at the next next convention, sit down at my table, plop open your character, and we'll continue the game.
Right, and have
and
add-ins. Have some people
so
can add
doing
in.
an iterative thing, and then in between conventions, maybe we'll do a virtual one. So kind of doing a virtual real thing between convention friends and virtual friends. So that is maybe the direction I'm going to go in.
So, Alyssa, I do that now on my channel on the Saturday Night Specials. So I have the Slav Squad. We have Ed Greenwood's 2-drink minimum. Every couple of months they get together, and it's ongoing in my campaign setting, so it affects whatever else is going on. And it's right, and it's a series of one-shots, really, basically, every couple of months. So the next one's the 21st. So with Ed and his group. So yeah, that's the same thing. It's awesome. It's a great idea.
So
Yep.
there you go.
It's a great
Because
idea.
I want to run Beyond the Mountains of Madness. I want to run Horror on the Orient Express. I went all in with the Cthulhu Classics Kickstarter that they did, and I've got the prop set sitting on the table behind me. Like, these are things I want to do, and my single group that I play with locally, I'm never going to do them. So let's run Horror on the Orient Express in person at conventions, virtually otherwise, and I'll have, like, you guys as my players. That's how I'm going to do this now. So less one-shots. I'll still probably do a one-shot at each convention, but then I'll actually run my gaming group, and it'll be like, people like you.
No, it's a great idea.
Awesome. Yeah.
Great idea. It works too. And they come back for more. People like that, and that's why I've always said, don't let a character opportunity go to waste. The one thing I always have hated. I'm sorry, I'm soapboxing. I apologize in a fantasy mapping show. I hate when you do a one shot and then the character you throw away afterwards. I can't stand that. That's an opportunity. You got a character developed. Use it.
Mhm.
Whether that person plays it or use it, use that character. Use the story.
I
Yeah.
agree with that, and I can actually
Yeah.
see people, because what I've been running at conventions now for a short while, and I have people coming back to me from my previous games, and they either have the same character in their hand, or they ask for the same character. They're
Yeah.
like, "Do you have Lucius? Is Lucius in there?" Because that's their character now.
Yep.
And they want to run that character again, especially if I'm doing Cthulhu Invictus, like over and over and over. Like they kind of want to bring their characters
Yeah.
forward into the next chapter. And I understand that. So I want to play to that.
What I've also noticed is and here we go. I'm Casey now, Anna.
Okay.
All right. So when I run holes, right? Which I ran it during Virtual GrowCon 1, right? And I ran it. So Amy Crittenden, Thala, and Enoch Pratt, Tim, they actually go, hey, that's my character. I played that character to the players, Walt's character and Bill's characters that are in the actual adventure. Like for example, something that I ran, I used their characters, and now they're connected to them, which is really cool when you think about it. So it's a neat thing that I think a lot of people don't take advantage of. But then again, we're getting into the weeds here, and I'm sorry about that, but.
No, this is what the show's all about.
Yeah.
It's the weeds. You
Yep.
ask Anna, she maps the weeds.
Yep.
Yeah. Tim, the ever mysterious Tim is DMing tomorrow. He's going to kill everyone tomorrow morning. Stream 4 out of 5. I have feeling the same way about the characters for tomorrow. I like the one-shot characters a lot now. See, because you listen to me, right? We've only been friends since 1980, dude. And you're finally listening to me after all these years. I'm just kidding. So, see Tim tomorrow. Kill everyone tomorrow morning with his Rovers of the Baron games with what happened to Rattlebones, which would be really neat with William Henry Dvorak playing, and a lot of other people. And the Naz is playing in that game too, our longest subscriber outside of our group of friends. So, wow. All right, so we got about 15, 20 minutes of discussion at least. So, Alyssa, what's happening outside of the Greyhawk world though? Do you have
Well, apart from Luke's, the Greyhawk, Chaosium Gaslight, or the cosmology of role playing, I don't know. That's probably going to keep me busy for a short while. I am also on I am going to start slanting my work towards Call of Cthulhu in general.
Okay.
I not only do I want to do the cities, but I actually want to start drawing some of the locations in like some of their famous campaigns. Whether it be like Masks of Nyarlathotep, draw some of the actual battle maps for that.
Oh, awesome.
Map components, so people can break out the virtual tables and actually put down a particular museum or whatever it is, and have the components to build the location and the encounter that they want. I'm going to start doing a lot more of that because I'm so passionate on
Nice.
Call of Cthulhu setting.
That's top 3. How does top 3 not warrant an assassin? Dave, I don't understand that. How does top 3 not warrant an assassin? Dave always goes off on these weird tangents.
Well, apparently, if you are top 3 anything, Dave wants to assassinate.
Yeah,
you.
I guess that's So
I know.
Oh, chat conversation. All right. I'm sorry. Oh, how did Casey not die? Oh, okay. You know what? Let's not go back. Casey's in Northern Ireland now on his honeymoon, which was delayed 2 full years.
He really deserves it.
Yes, yeah. I'm sorry. He was trying to take. Yes. Let's not. We're not going to attempt to try and kill Casey anymore during events, okay? But
But apparently Casey wasn't top 3, so he doesn't get assassinated.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm sorry, I missed that whole in the thread there because the chat's going by so fast. So, all right, well that's cool. So here, I want to ask you about one of these maps. Look, I'm going to hit the right button here. I hit the right button, and that is this Summer Coast. Is that the one? Yeah.
Okay,
what's
that's an old one I did.
Oh, it is old. Okay. I like the colors in this.
Yeah, so this one, funny enough, I drew it back in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
And it was never colored, but it also had some things about it I didn't like. So I actually did a YouTube video of me redrawing some sections that the more modern me would now approach differently. The piers actually was one of it. The piers and the jetties there. So I actually redrew part of this. I think I even redrew some of the roads too, where it's like, this is a good map that the younger me did, but let me tell you what the older me would do a little bit differently. I should actually get back to doing that series. And then I redrew some sections of it. This I actually consider this to be a nice, simple town. Yeah, and
Okay.
I actually find it hard to be this basic now, if that makes any sense. There's no little gardens here. There's no bucket on a porch. And I find that very hard to just do the map, you know?
Well, that makes total sense. So this was just a doing of your own. This was not a commission or anything. Was it a location in
No,
your game?
I actually had a whole bunch of maps I just did for myself and my own games back in England. And this was one of them. I probably did 20 plus city maps just for myself. And this was one of them.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, it's nice color.
I love the coloring process. I really genuinely do. I'm always learning something with it. Sometimes I fail if I start experimenting too much and it comes out pretty hideous. But this one I thought came out okay. It's not too garish. I tend to be a little bit oversaturated with my colors if I'm not careful, and that's because my Wacom tablet is beginning to get old a little bit, and its color balance is off, and I would hate it.
Oh yeah, you have to color correct the screens and stuff. But
yeah, this thing will not color correct anymore.
Yeah.
It's done.
Now I need to ask you a question about technique. Do you put like one ink layer where you have all the black lines, outlines and stuff on a separate layer, and then you do the coloring afterwards on a separate layer? Or...
Let me tell you how I do this in an ideal world, and then I'll tell you how it actually ends up.
Yeah.
So in an ideal world, I draw all of the ink of the buildings on their own layer, and I ensure that the ink connects, because then you can do some quick selects.
Oh, then you can fill inside it. Okay.
And then you can fill inside if you need to.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, I draw the trees on a different layer. I tend to draw the coastline on its own layer as well.
Yeah.
And by coastline, I include rivers and things like that. And I'll draw the hills and things on their own layer. But ultimately, about 4 or 5 ink layers thereabouts. In an ideal world,
use layer effects to get shading and stuff, or is that something you manually
do? Typically, then I come through with coloring. Now, coloring, let's say a building, I'll have a color for the buildings layer, and often I'll actually do 2 or 3, because I'll actually do some highlights and lowlights even on just simple roofs. But then I'll do the layer effect just to get a nice simple drop shadow. And because the buildings are on their own, they'll just have their own drop shadow. I often have a high building, a medium building, and a low building, so I can give them different layer effects. So a tall building will have a very deep shadow compared to just a regular small building, where the shadows are a lot more, concise, so to speak. They're smaller. The trees I will color on their own layer, so I can give them their own shadow effect.
Exactly. That's the
So you kind of know where I'm going with this. So that's what I do. And I might have 15 to 20 layers, but then with labels to one side. The way it actually works, though, Anna, is I'll be drawing ink, not realize it. I'm on the wrong layer, start coloring, not realize, and I'm on the wrong layer. So then I end up merging my layers and it all goes out the window.
Yeah, lock the layers fully. You don't work on. Lock them down.
Still learning that. All of these years later,
that's
what
I do.
I screwed up on a map recently, and I was like, "God damn it, I'm drawing on the wrong layer." I learned a trick though. I learned a trick recently, where actually it was Jay. Jay draws maps too, and she said, "Put a layer effect on the layers that you need to have open, but you're not currently using, and like make them red. Give it a color of an overlay. So if I start drawing and it's in red, I know it's the wrong layer."
Yep. That's the other trick. Yeah, you put like a color overlay that is like some horrible color that you would not use, like screaming purple or something like that. So
yes,
and then and I lock them down, and then I get so frustrated. Why can't I? Nothing happens, and then I have to go back up and unlock the layers. But it's so tricky. Once you start having more than 10 layers, you get lost in them. And Photoshop also have the idea that if you click on something, and there is something else visible that barely visible, like only 1% visible on a layer
It
above,
will select
it will
that. Yeah.
automatically select that, and
Yeah.
you start drawing on it. So yeah.
With the coloring, I actually I tend to color multiple layers. So I'll do, let's say, it's almost like a spray brush. I'll do a spray, but let's say I'm doing green. I'll do a fairly dark green, but it's got lots of holes in it.
Yeah.
And then I'll come underneath it and I'll spray again with a different shade. It sometimes even just outright sand or mud. Then I'll come down again, sometimes 7 deep. And so I'm kind of layering the actual colors to get, then I do the path separately on top of all of that. And that technique is what I used on this one, which is why you see some yellow and little bits of stone sort of bleeding through, because I've kind of just layered them as I've gone down.
Yeah. One of the tricks that I thought that I did on my own city maps back in the day when I used my own campaign, when I just drew it on paper, was that the building had an outline and it had a filling. And the outline was the type of wall. So you had like one color for wooden wall, one color for stone walls, etc. So depending on what, and then the color of the roof was how tall the building was. So you actually saw, so the buildings had different, so you can also, and you can have a double outline. So you can actually depict what the roof material was, and then you had the how many floors, how tall the building was. But now when I do it in Photoshop, I realized that then I put each floor number of floors on a separate layer just to adjust the drop shadow accordingly, so to speak. So I can shift it so many pixels per increased floor level, so to speak. And if you have the tallest tower is 10 stories, that means that you have 10 layers and you have to paint that one. And the beauty of doing that is that if I draw that in Photoshop, I can export it out and put a color overlay in grayscale, and I can import it back in my 3D tools, and I get bumps in the terrain that actually matches the height of the building. So I can draw in Photoshop and export a height map that I can use in World Machine of Gaia. And that is really cool. So that's a benefit you can do so that way I just produce. So I simply set an overlay at the percentage. So I have like, if the tallest building is 10 stories, that means that one is pure white, and then it goes on, and the bottom one is black, so to speak. And I export. So I get a building height map that I can use as well.
So, question from Alex Antiquitous for either one of you. Have you ever seen the Lankmore City map, and do you have any opinions on it?
Yeah.
What, by Doug Kovacs, that one?
Is that the one?
Well, it's TSR made a version of Lankmore. I have it here sitting somewhere.
I don't have it to bring it
I
up.
think Doug Kovacs did one though too, right?
Oh, yeah,
that's the one I like.
Might be. Yeah. So the one that TSR had was kind of really cool. It was not super advanced, but for its time, it was one of the best city maps I've ever seen. But it also had one interesting feature. There were areas that were just blank squares. And then it had a little booklet where you have geomorphs that could fit. So you can take any of the geomorphs and put in these empty squares. So you can design parts of the city according to those standardized geomorphs. I don't know if that was a way to engage creativity in DMs, or it was just a way of not having to draw all the buildings. I wasn't really sure if it was a plus or a minus, so to speak. But it's an interesting city map because I've never seen any published source map actually use that approach. But I think it's kind of cool because that little booklet with the geomorphs was kind of interesting. So
I really want to do a geomorph tile set for a city or a town.
Yeah.
You have this, Alyssa, right? You gave me this in the folder.
Going to see if I can find it here
right?
somewhere.
It's something like whoops! I did it again! 4 times! 4 times!
Okay, bye!
4 times! I like how this says gross double bed. Is that what you're talking about? You have these are these tile sets?
So this was just in connection with the fact that I'm going to be doing a lot more map components.
Oh, okay.
Here is Lankmar.
Yeah, that's a valuable
Click
book.
through that.
Yep.
But yeah, so map components coming up, and that was one that I actually did for a hotel.
Oh, cool.
Likewise with that, so you'd be able to build a little.
Yeah. So here is the map.
So Alyssa, you don't want to do a black light in this room.
No, you do not do that game. No, you do not. Well, give me a sanity roll.
Oh, okay, there it is. Who did that
There it
one?
is.
Let's see.
Oh my
here.
God, that looks like Greyhawk.
Oh yeah, it's.
I mean the Greyhawk from the Gore books.
Uh,
The shape.
let's see. I have to look. It's not on the map, but let's see. Geoff Valley, Curtis Smith. Geoff Valley sounds not like a real name. It sounds more like someone someone made that map
Huh.
that name up. So someone Curtis Smith. No.
Okay.
And Tracy Hickman did some maps, and then Curtis Smith did maps. But I think this map is, for the time being, I think it was the best city map that TSR ever published in a lot of sense. It's fantastic. It's the same type of style that the Waterdeep map was back in the day.
Yeah, so Tracy
very-
Hickman and
very
Curtis Smith
similar.
did that one. Yeah, and
Yep. So it's
Okay.
great. And it has these little gray squares in here. And these gray squares were where you put in the geomorphs, and they were published in a little booklet like this.
Oh,
So the geomorphs were
cool.
actually, but they were black and white, unfortunately.
Oh,
So
that
and
sucks.
they were published. So you were supposed to decide that area so and so on the map was geomorph, and then you have whatever they had different names, and then you can put locations here in your geomorph, so you can design parts of the city that
Alright.
way. And I it was an interesting idea, and
So-
I photocopied these
Yeah, because you don't want to ruin
and then used them in my own campaign in other cities, which was kind of a cool way. So that way I got kind of city maps for free, so to speak, that I can reuse in other places. So yeah. So this one was a huge inspiration for me when it came out. So
So BB Fanfun says best published sewers map. Malden's Greyhawk City is really good.
well, when it comes to overview, but it's not detailed.
Right,
It's,
well,
it's
yeah.
just lines for it. so
That's
it's more
true. That
detailed,
overview,
yeah.
overview, but
I would
detail.
say Alyssa had some of the coolest geomorph things,
group for
tile
sewers.
stuff that are kind of sewage. That
Right,
I
for
would put
Inkwell,
high.
that with their Kickstarter is going on right now.
Exactly,
Fact,
and
it would not be nice of me if I didn't mention their Kickstarter.
Exactly, you have to.
Inkwell Ideas are currently doing geomorph maps and dice.
We had
They've
them
done
on,
them
right?
before. They always do very well. They always deliver. They're
Mhm.
fantastic. They
Cool.
got several cartographers involved. I did 27 tiles for them, all fully colored. Dyson Logos is there. William Babel is there.
Nice.
Some incredible artists with incredible talent. Go check out their Kickstarter because it's doing well. It's funded already. Of course, it has.
Alex, can you link
um,
that if you're on, please?
And yeah,
Interviews.
it's worth taking a look at because honestly, it's just a big bag of pure sex. It's
Nice.
awesome.
That is cool. Good question there. Need a quick sewer map. Use parts of a city. Parts of a city map and shrink to scale. That's a good idea, Katana.
Yeah.
Katana's always thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Because Katana's like me. You gotta go from the old school. You gotta adapt and overcome. Wow. So I'm scratchy throat. 6 hours sleep last 2 days. I am on a roll. So yes, and then I got to wake up in the morning and deal with Tim. So it's even better. Just kidding.
Yeah.
That's all right. Well, sorry, Alex. I had to step right. The map Kickstarter for what was it again, Alyssa? Kickstarter.
Inkwell Ideas.
Inkwell Ideas.
Yep. Mhm. Yep.
Yes.
We had him on the show.
Yeah, we
yeah,
did.
exactly.
We did.
Yep.
Yeah, before
Yep.
the end of the year, last
Yep.
year. Yep. Tim, it'll be a blast. So just note that. All right. What else we have going on in this already packed
I have
year?
a couple of screenshots that I want to show.
Okay.
that
well,
are
now,
in the
am I
in
going to hit the right?
Dropbox.
I'm going to
Yeah,
try
I think there were three
to do the right button.
screenshots that I just want to
Let's
show
see if I can
a
do it.
little bit. Yep.
Oh, wrong button.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. I got it. We're going to try this button. We're going to try this button. Switch.
Ooh, look at
It's
that
not switching.
photo.
It's not switching.
No,
okay.
hold on.
Is the flame going to be back? Are we going to see that? There it is. Whee!
There it goes.
Okay,
There
we're
we
back.
go. Yeah.
Alright.
mhm.
And then
Oh, she's
there we
gone.
go. There we
There she
go.
is.
There we go. Yeah. See, look, and I got a wrong. Ellis, I got a wrong button emote now that
Exactly.
Mike
so
Disney and
everybody's
Sharon did.
pressing
So every
their-
time there's wrong
I,
button,
I
it does.
see that.
Yeah.
Yes.
mhm.
No, so what I'm getting from this is you never wrong button before.
No, not once ever in my life.
Anna, darling, the stage is yours.
Yes.
Okay, so go into the Dropbox. You have them on your computer, or I can show them on mine too. If you want to.
That's why I have it set like this.
Okay, perfect. Then
Yeah.
and then I'll
Yeah. That's why I
I'll
have
do
it
so
set
you have
this way. So I
the
can just
slides
can do
and
this.
stuff here. So yeah. So what I'm going to do, we have I'm just gonna move this little window around, and so we have here we have the this is Gaia, the new version of Gaia, and this is a quick and dirty concept map of a little piece of desert terrain kind of thing with bushes and stuff on it. So just to show a little bit, this is taken from the live stream. And oh, hang on a second, I'm doing double click.
See, Anna's hitting wrong buttons.
Oh yeah, I hit the wrong buttons. There's something with my mouse now. I need to unplug it or something. So this is a concept from what Gaia can do. This is not fully texture or anything, but it can do vegetation, it can do rivers, it can do a whole bunch of cool stuff really, really well. So we have this, and I'm going to go back to here. You can see a little bit what this can do. And this is not even textured. It's just a quick and dirty
That looks like real.
slope. Yes, and that's
Wow.
the thing. So you can actually do it real. So when this is textured and stuff, and you can even put little buildings and stuff on there too. So
Wow.
it's kind of, yeah, this is the quality I'm aiming for, so to speak. So the coming from next year will be the so I'm going to can do a little thing like this. So next year and onwards, I want to start doing area like
Yeah, Awful
famous
Stupid's coming in
locations
too.
and stuff in Greyhawk in
Covered.
this quality, or maybe even a little bit better than this. So fully textured, and it will be with vegetation and buildings and stuff. So that's where we aiming for. I need a better computer to do it, start doing really efficiently, but hopefully that can not too distant future to do it. So if my patrons want to help out, so to speak, to do it. But that was I just wanted to show a little bit of what to expect coming up, so to speak. So that's the
Thank you, Lawful Stupid. Very kind of you.
the problem so far have been in this is to do large areas and get the drainage map and rivers and stuff working. That is coming now. So and we're talking soon, in a couple of years time, we're talking continental size maps that can be of quality like this. So the technology is coming. Greyhawk at porta potty scale used to be something that was a pipe dream. Now it becomes something that can actually be built in years rather than decades.
If you have
I
the
have
storage.
a question. I have
Yeah.
a question actually, Anna, for you.
Yeah.
Because I know that you're friendly with Darlene, and I assume that she has seen your work and is very familiar with it. What does she think of this march of technology and what you're doing now
I
from
think-
her original work?
Yeah, I think it's kind of gone away from what she's doing, so to speak, in that sense, that then it was a work of art. Now it's about visualizing. So it is different, and I acknowledge that, meaning, and I think one of the things that you have to kind of keep in mind when you look at fantasy cartography, you can come at it from two different directions. You come at it, most fantasy cartographers come at it from an illustrated perspective. They are fantastic illustrators or general artists, and in Darlene's case, also great calligraphers, meaning calligraphy was probably Darlene's one of her specialities, and great arts, and meaning I don't have much art credentials, and my illustrative, I worked in the print shop, and I know my way around basic stuff like that, and I can design things reasonably well, but I'm not an expert at that. But then you can come from the other direction in this, and that's coming from from cartography, from real world cartography, to understand how real world mapping works, how projections work, scale works, and features on a map, and understand how you use maps in the real world. And that's my direction that I come from. Now I'm trying to merge the two. And I want to kind of move over into the design phase. And that's why I love now to get into heraldry and stuff, because that boosts my design skills. And then I want to take my terrain interest in real world geography and stuff and boost my design credentials at the same time, and then try to marry the two. That's the ultimate goal, so to speak, to have one foot in real world cartography, terrain, visualizing worlds, landscape photography, all that stuff. And the other foot I want to have in design, parchments, the cool looking symbols, and all the fantasy design and art and stuff like that. That's my goal, so to speak. That's why I want to keep an eye on symbol design, heraldry and stuff, so I can boost my credentials and learn that part, because that's really, really hard. I'm not a complete, I have a little bit of talent in that area, but I haven't nurtured. I maybe 1% of Jeff Elmore and easily, and I have to work really hard, and then I can reach a little bit up, so to speak, when it comes to it. So I'm working really hard on it, but I think everybody needs to acknowledge that the fantasy cartography spans the whole spectrum from pure beautiful picture or raw map, so to speak, and then there's a continuum between the two.
It's yeah, and it's a lot to think about,
Yeah.
right? It's gonna, just
and this is the,
on that
the
scale.
deep dive.
That scale
yeah.
is it's deep. So
Yep.
and it's exciting. I know, Jade, you missed it, but we had a lot of Greyhawk announcements, or project announcements early on, and they were very exciting times coming up here. And this has been a fun show. I mean, we've talked about a lot of neat things. What would you both like to say in closing for tonight? Whether it's positive thoughts for the future, or or
Well,
tally
so
ho.
you go first. Yeah, you go first. Yeah.
We've been doing a lot of talking about what's forthcoming, so I'm not going to repeat everything that I am working on and will be working on. I am extremely excited for the future. I think there are some awesome projects ahead for all of us. And I'm really excited just to be getting back into conventions and meeting all of you again, running for you, playing with you, alongside you, and just hanging out with you. Honestly, the gaming community is the best. You're all my peeps, you're all my family, and I'm just super pumped. Now we're back into the saddle,
Yep.
Gary Con was awesome, Alyssa. Just hanging out with you there, and like Alyssa had her own couch section, like her and your husband, right, and Kafir, they're all hanging out, right? Yeah, I mean, you had the crew. You had that crew in that corner of the couch. That was really neat. So yeah, it was a fun time. Just liked all the people that I met there. It was a fantastic time. And more to come. I wish I could go to more cons, but that's just not in the cards yet. Like, I'd love to go to North Texas. I'd love to go to Game Hole, but I can't this year. But Gary Con's a definite for next year. That's an absolute definite. So very cool. Anna, what were we gonna say?
Well, I just want to say thank you. I've reached 340 patrons, and
wow.
To be honest, if someone asked me that 5 years ago, I will be like, maybe that will be a pipe dream after I've had my Patreon for 10 years and advertised everywhere and so on.
Wow.
So I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who gives me a little bit of money every month to keep this going. And it's fantastic. And I want you guys to know that I love you all, and it's wonderful, because this makes it possible for me to keep doing this and to develop and to do more cool stuff. So it's and to do deep dives into it. So yeah, so there will be more, and I'm also setting up for streaming. I've tested and there's a couple of error message that comes up now and then, but apart from that, it seems to be working. So I will start doing some test streaming next week on Twitch, and then we'll go from there, so to speak. So it's yeah. So
trying.
it's coming. Yep. Mhm.
I'm trying to put all these in reverse order, and you know
And if you
always
are
screw it up.
watching now and you are entertained, believe me, the Lord
Thank you.
Gazomba runs an incredible channel with lots of live streaming
Thank
of
you.
games.
Yep.
Follow this if you are not already. Hit him with a follow.
Yep.
It
Thank
costs
you.
you absolutely nothing. He is so close to a goal right now. I hope that he is going to pass it
Thank you.
imminently, and you
Yep.
can make that happen.
So when we hit 8,000, for everyone who's new, every 1,000 followers I've gotten since I started, 1,000 through 10,000, I'm going to do this. This is an original. I give away an original Best of the Dragon Volume 3. Okay, this will be number 8. So once I get,
To every single one of you shipped anywhere in the world.
I have no problem. Yep, on that one, that's it doesn't matter where it's
Okay.
going to
Wow.
go.
Wow.
No, it doesn't matter
Wow.
on that
Okay.
one. I shipped one to UK. Yeah, that's not a problem on this one because that's to celebrate everyone's
Only
support.
cost 2,000.
It's like $30. It's not. It is what it is at this point, right? With all the craziness here. All right, I'm trying to put these in order. Bear with me 1 second. I think I got it. For oh, do we have a topic for next week, Anna? We don't, do we?
No, I don't think
Oh,
we do.
okay, it's okay.
Well, there was some ideas, but I don't
Yeah.
think we actually settled on
Yeah.
a topic.
I've
on the first
I've
topic.
delivered to Alaska a Gitano. I delivered to Utah just recently. I've delivered, I think, almost every state in the union. All right. So what is going on? Oh gosh, which one is it? Is it that one or is it this one? No, I forget which one it is. All right, real quick. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. EDT. The ever mysterious Tim, who has had the first of the heads going way back emotes, the ever mysterious Tim critical hit head. Tim is DMing his Rovers of the Barrens game using Fantasy Grounds, the Dark Can, William Henry Dvorak's character Rattlebones. It'll be named Danger on the Edge. What happened to Rattlebones in a mission about a year ago? And he's got a lot of guest people playing in them, all wearing red shirts. So yeah, that's going to be that's tomorrow morning. That'll be streamed 4 or 5 straight days. Then we go to Sunday night, our next DM's roundtable. And I got a nice special guest. William Henry Dvorak's in this too. April Hill, you probably all know her as Stiletto Assassin. She played in the game last Saturday night. I have her coming on, and I have Stefan Picorni too. The wonderful Stefan is going to partake.
He is a handful, man.
Yeah.
That's going to be incredible.
Yes,
Yep.
and the first ever time that Stefan has participated in a DM's roundtable. He's been on the channel a couple times, but he has never. Yes, they're red shirts, Matt. Yeah, Tim will kill everyone. Trust me. So that'll be tomorrow, Sunday night, 7 o'clock. We have only 5 streams this week. Next week, 3. So we'll have Legends and Lore on Wednesday, our normal game on Thursday. We'll finish that adventure we're doing now, the Sisters Calling. All right, first announcement I've done on this. I don't even have a shout out on it, but I have the banner done. The person who stated in the 1983 box set, Make Greyhawk Your Own, is who? Gitano? Who wrote that in the 1983 box set? Yes, Gitano. Next Sunday, May 8th. I have Steve Winter, the Steve Winter, coming on Gavin for a nice conversation. Yes. So finally got our first connect from Gary. Yes, thank you, Gitano. So yeah. Yes. So a legend will be on. He actually was at Gary Con. We can thank Greyhawk Mike for making the connection. And so Steve Winter will be on Sunday, May 8th. It is Mother's Day. Sorry. But that's when Steve said he wanted to do it. So I have to do it. You can't pass on that for saying that. And then the next big thing that's set, excuse me, the next continuing adventures of Two Drink Minimum, Ed Greenwood's great group, Ed, Tony Winslow Brill, Eric Boyd, Eric Menji, Anna Meyer, and a very special guest. I shot for the stars. I have not gotten anywhere. I'm just going to tell you, I've attempted to get Will Wheaton, haven't gotten anywhere yet, and Spike from Buffy, James Marsters. I even tried because he's like my hero from the '90s. I haven't been successful with either one of them. But I'm making the attempt to get a really cool special guest. Ever since we got Todd Stashwick, I'm trying to up it, on that level. But so far, no luck so far. Excuse me. I got 3 weeks, right, Alyssa? I got 3 weeks.
Plenty of time to get a special guest. I'm
So-
beginning to see a pattern here, Jay. Yeah, we're going to write this mountain of stuff and do 1 million maps for less than like 9 months. And I'm going to get a super special guest for 3 weeks' time.
And it happens all the time.
Apparently, you got a magic touch, man.
It's just being a, I don't want to say a jerk, but persistence.
You're working hard
Thank you.
at it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Along with all the other stuff. That's why I barely ever sleep. So, but that's okay. So that's what's going on. We'll also have a lot of other things. We're going to have a creative jam finally, where we're going to have Jeremy from Gamescape, who Alyssa. We're going to have Moonlight Minis. She will, the great Christine Van Patten, the sculptor, Mike Disney, and Bill the Master Crafter, all on the screen at the same time doing their thing and just having a jam craft session. We're going to have that down the end of the month of May. That'll be neat. All the crafters doing stuff. So we got a lot more things going on, and more guests too, of course, Gitano. So that's it. So let's do these giveaways. These are $25 gift certificates to Frog Guy Games store. Okay. Last call. You have to be on to claim unless you are a tier 2 subscriber and you've signed up, and I don't care. So if you want to subscribe to tier 2 and then sign up for all the ones you want and lurk away, then I'm fine with that. Right? You gotta give tier 2's benefit somehow. So, yep. Carman, I am a salesman. I've been a sales rep my whole life. I've been a politician my whole life. Right? So, as Anna would say, I'm on the dark side a little bit, but that's okay.
Well, it depends on how you see it. I might be on the dark side, depending on where you see it from.
That's good. Ed is going to keep on coming on. Ed loves the community. Ed will be is going to be so. Oh, that's the last announcement. We have 2/3 of the Wizards 3 Gabbin discussion. We have Ed Greenwood representing, Elminster. We have someone representing Mordenkainen, and I'm reaching out to certain individuals. I've reached out to 3 people to get the Dragonlance, but I have not been successful yet. We're looking for a June date to have a Wizards 3 Gabbin. All right, so we're trying to get that. That'll be like the penultimate show.
Yeah, we need a fist band. Yep.
Yeah, we need the fist band. So we're working on it. Yep, we are working on it. I've reached out to 3 people. I've got 1 no, and I've gotten 2 no responses. So I'm working on it. Yep. So all right, let's do the giveaways. And we're going to raid into Agora Quest, which used to be called Paranormal Adventures. Sean, he's a good guy. He's got a really cool stream. It's Greyhawk based. We're going to raid into him. So, yep. I'm trying to up the game here, right? Gotta use that check mark for something. Got the bully pulpit there. Here we go. Closing this out. It's Dalamar. Thank you. You're right. Dalamar. Absolutely. So I've reached out to a couple of really good people. Thank you, Mike. Yes, you are absolutely correct. First winner, Caesar. 2000 Caesar.
Awesome.
2000 Caesar. Now, in my stats for 2021 was the most watched hours out of any viewer.
Oh,
yeah, in 2020, in
nice.
2021,
So
Twitch
Yeah.
gives you those stats, so he was number 1. So, congrats,
Good
Caesar.
memory there,
He's
too.
showing us on. And next winner, Ass Hurt the Bear. It's Ashur. I know.
worthy.
So Ashur. There
Yeah.
you go.
Now,
got it.
what I will say to these fine winners right here, I saw a printed copy of Necropolis from Frogguard, and it is a beautiful book. It's a campaign in and of itself, Egyptian inspired. I'm not sure it's on their store yet. You may want to hold on to the $25 until it is, and put it towards that, because it's a kick-ass piece.
So it's based on Gary Gygax's Necropolis, right? It's a rehash of it. Yeah, absolutely.
It is. Mark Greenberg and Bill Webb did a heavy rewrite of it and made it cohesive for 5e, because it's a very different game now. And
Awesome.
I've seen the maps, I've seen the artwork, I've seen the cover. It's it's a book that you just want to own. So consider that. You find winners.
Great advice. Frog God has a lot of wonderful things they're working on. I think I did that Kickstarter. That's a Kickstarter.
Yes.
I think I did that one. I did like you.
Oh,
I
you're
did.
going to be happy camper when you get that.
I
book
did
released.
that one. I did Will's, which we're going to talk about on Sunday night. I did. Oh my gosh. Oh man, my brain just shut off. I did two. Counting Reaper. I've got so many going on. All right, so we're going to raid into Agora Quest, which Sean from Parentland Adventures. Everyone's trying to figure out why he changed his name still. Don't know. So, but that's what it is. And Alyssa, Anna, what a great show. Next fantasy mapping show, mark it down. Friday night, May 20th.
Yep. We'll see if
It's
we can
our
get a
1
guest.
year anniversary.
1 year
Oh,
anniversary show.
yes, there.
You
Okay.
must be there.
1 year anniversary show. Thank you. Like I said, we were the number second largest D&D stream of the evening. By the way, I'm all, you know, an analytics guy.
I
That's
might
fantastic.
turn up in my Cthulhu onesie for it.
Ooh,
Make it special.
That would be nice. Be
Ooh.
very, very cool. We'll keep the content rolling. Alyssa, Anna, thanks for a great one, and see you all tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. And you can watch Tim kill people. So there you go.
There you go.
See you.